Oh, g'day scrappers. Yeah, just wanted to talk about hard drives today, and just to sort of see what whether they're worthwhile scrapping out or selling complete or what. Well, in my opinion, some hard drives are worth scrapping for the boards and whatnot, but modern day hard drives and the future of hard drives, it's probably really not really worth scrapping them out for what's inside them, simply because there's actually not much inside them, as you probably know. You got one or two magnets in there, which some people sell those magnets on eBay, but there's not much of a market. You might sell a few here and there, but and then the round platters, supposedly palladium. Well, maybe in the really old hard drives they might have had some quantity of palladium, that might have been recoverable, but certainly not so much these days. They use less and less of precious metals in pretty much everything these days. So hard drive platters, really, for anyone that's even kind of attempted to extract the platinum out of the discs, most will tell you need thousands of them to get, maybe even a gram of platinum, if you're lucky. And so the chemicals involved and the process involved just wouldn't be worthwhile scrapping out, trying to recover any platinum from those data discs. They look nice, they're nice and shiny and flash, but there might be a market for them to like an artist that wants to do some kind of arty thing with them, but how many of them are you going to get? So even stocking them up to sell to someone in lots of 100 or something, you're probably never going to actually get to sell them. So so there's really not much inside a hard drive that's really worth anything. Yeah, there's a little bit of gold plating here and there, but geez, there's gold plating on everything. You don't really need to get into a hard drive to get that little tiny bit of gold plating that's in there. So yeah, what I meant by some are worth scrapping out and some aren't is more the older ones. They're definitely worth scrapping out for the circuit boards or the logic boards, because they've got a lot of everything on them. These days, the logic boards on modern hard drives, and if you're watching this in another year from the time that this video was put up on YouTube, most of the hard drives that you're going to get are going to be something like this, and the boards are going to look something like that. And as you can see, it's less than a half of the size of the hard drive. It's a very little board, and even so this one's facing the other way around. This one's the right side up, and as you can see, there's really not much on this board. Although these are high tech components on these logic boards. It's a hard drive; it has to work perfectly every time. So there's a lot of technology in this, but not so much. They haven't piled on the precious metals, that's for sure. And being a very small board, sure, you've got a little bit of plating here and so on. But when you go to sell these boards, if you're not refining circuit boards and IC chips, flat packs, so on yourself, and you're just removing them to sell, like here in Australia, they're $10 a kilo, and I know that in US, I think the price is around $7.50 per pound, which is a bit more. It's about $16 a kilo converted into Australian, but yeah. So for $7.50 a pound or $10 a kilo here in Australia. It takes a lot of these boards to get a kilo, and so I'm not, you know, I don't really think that there's it's worthwhile, because once you take off this board, you got yourself the hard drive casing, which is predominantly, well, you got this part here, which is usually stainless steel, and obviously your cast aluminium. Inside, you know, you got your little reader thing, and you got your platter, and you got your magnet, but you know, they're low value stuff, and you know, maybe you can sell the magnets, as I said, but you know, I haven't heard of many people actually looking for the magnets, apart from wanting a couple for themselves, and so can't really put much value on those magnets. And you know, aluminium is aluminium. Stainless steel is worth about the same as aluminium, but in Australia, $1 a kilo. So hard drives in Australia sell for $1.20 a kilo, complete with the board. In the US, I know that they sell for about 60 cents a pound, so it's roughly about the same as they sell for here. Now, with these modern ones, and in the future, you know, you're going to see, like, these are probably the latest style of hard drive. In the future, you're going to get a lot more of this, and this board is probably going to shrink even more, and the chips on it are going to get smaller, and sure, they'll still have a bit of gold and so on in there, but the quantities are smaller and smaller as we go. So you know, the future of hard drives, you know, to scrap them is probably not going to be much value there. Now, as you can see, these are for modern. I kind of split my hard drives into 3 categories. So this is category 1, which is the most common, you know, the stuff that's coming out of the latest PCs that are being scrapped at the moment. Obviously, you know, if they're good hard drives and you can, you know, reuse the hard drive complete, do so, or sell it. You know, if it's 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes, you know, they're going for good money if you can reformat them and sell them complete. That's probably the future of hard drives, is to repurpose them rather than scrapping them out. So I for me, I sell these complete, because it's just not worth the time to fiddle around and take off all the screws just to get this, to get one board, a little board, and just mucking around to get all the stuff inside there. I'd rather just sell it for $1.20 a kilo, or if I was in the States, I'd be selling these for for 60 cents a pound and just getting rid of them, because there's not much on the boards. As you can see, let's just take one of these off. Now, so there's your, you know, that's the board. You know, even like the little yellow tantalum capacitor there, it's only a little one. You know, it's only very small. You know, you got some MLCCs. These flat packs are, you know, will be, you know, reasonably good. There's a little bit of plating. Obviously, you got your pins, but not much more pins than you'd get from, say, a DVD board. You know, and they're very light and small. So now that I've taken this board off the hard drive casing, this casing is pretty much halved in value. In the States, now you'll get 30 cents a pound for this. You'll get $7.50 a pound for these. You know, or in Australia, well, I'm not sure. You'd probably get about 50 cents a kilo if someone was willing to buy. But here in Australia, not many people actually, or companies actually, buy hard drives without the boards. Once you've gotten to this stage, you're kind of committed now to open it up and turn this into aluminium, stainless steel, and getting your little magnets and stuff out of it. But really, it's only $1 a kilo from this point maximum, whereas you're getting $1.20 a kilo with the board on. Now, These are stage 1 or level 1 hard drives, the current stuff, the future of hard drives. And this is a kilo of those hard drives. I'll just go up a bit. Right, and so as you can see, 1 kilo of hard drives is quite a bit. And you know, various late model ones, usually blank on one side, a little bit on the other side. These ones, same deal, some very small, you know, some slightly double-sided, got one IC chip there, but really not a great deal on them. And as I said, this was 1 kilo of boards, well, late model ones, and I'll just count them out. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. 44 boards to make up 1 kilo. Okay, about 20 boards to make up 1 pound. So 44 boards for 1 kilo. 1 kilo of boards, $10. What you're left with is where is it? You're left with 44 hard drive cases that are now halved in value. Okay, all you're going to get for these 44 boards is $10 because it's only 1 kilo. It's got a little rundown here. So you got 44 boards here. So 44 hard drives makes up 44 boards. There's 22 kilos worth of hard drives in 44 boards. Okay, so they're roughly 2 per kilo, half a kilo each, just over a pound per hard drive. Okay, so 44 hard drives is 22 kilos. If you were to sell the hard drives complete, just like that, at $1.20 a kilo, for your 44 hard drives, $22, 22 kilos of them, you'll get $26. Okay, without doing nothing, without removing this board or going through all this, punching out the center thing here. It's, you know, it's time consuming. But anyway, so 44 hard drives equals 22 kilos at $1.20 a kilo to sell complete, $26. Now if you take off the boards, remove the board from the hard drive, okay, now we got 44 boards of these little modern hard drive boards, which will give us 1 kilo of boards. And here in Australia, we're getting around $10 a kilo, maybe a little bit more, maybe $12 at some places, but let's just, you know, $10 a kilo is pretty good average. Okay, so that's what we're getting. Okay, now, and what you're going to be left with after you've taken 1 kilo of boards from 22 kilos of hard drives, you're going to end up with 21 kilos of hard drive cases. So just things like this. But now these are worth half the value unless you actually start stripping them up. Now you spend 5 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes, taking apart a whole hard drive. Okay, what you're going to be left with is basically 21 kilos of aluminium. Now, that's not taking into account there's some screws or there's some little bits that aren't aluminium or stainless steel, like that reader thing that might be irony aluminium. The platter. Well, that's not going to be. That's just going to be like an irony aluminium. So you're going to lose a bit of weight in your aluminium. But let's just say that we get all 21 kilos out of our 44 hard drives of aluminium. Okay, so now at $1 a kilo for 21 kilos of aluminium, we got $21. Okay, and we get $10 for our 44 boards. For 1 kilo of boards, we get $10. So in the end, we're going to get $31. Okay. Now remember, if we didn't even touch these and just sold them as is at $1.20 a kilo, we get 26 bucks. Okay, so to process 44 hard drives, taking off the boards, pulling all this apart, getting all those little bits out, mucking around, you're going to get $31. Okay, so $26. And all you're going to really get is $5. So $5 for stripping down 44 hard drives extra. It might take you, I don't know, 3-4 hours. 4 hours to strip down 44 hard drives. Maybe 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours for $5. Not worth it, in my opinion. Unless you've got absolutely nothing to do and you don't really care, and you want to say have a go at trying to sell the magnets inside. Which, believe me, you might sell a little batch, but usually you won't. You'll end up giving them away, and all the other little bits. You might get a little bit. So you can see a little bit of gold plating there, and okay, like the one I've taken off, you can see that gold plating there and there. All right, so a little bit extra here and there, but really you're not going to get much value. You're getting about $5, even if it was $10. I'm not sure it's worth it with these modern day boards, simply because it takes 44 boards to get 1 kilo, and it's only $10. Now in America you can get a little bit more for boards than we do here in Australia. It's $7.50 a pound, so $7.50 a pound times 2.2, it's about $16.50, $17. So it's probably a little bit more in America than it is in Australia, but not much. I'm not sure how much they get for the aluminium and so on. So overall, the future of hard drives are going to all look like this and like that, and so it takes a lot of boards to make up just 1 kilo, or it'll take 21 boards or so to make 1 pound of hard drive boards with this new stuff. So that's level 1. In my opinion, I just sell these complete. If I wasn't going to take off all these IC chips and the gold plating and actually process this myself, I'd sell these complete. Now I process, I will one day process all these myself, so it might be still worth it for me to strip these back. All I'll probably do for now is just remove the boards, keep the hard drives aside until I've got absolutely nothing to do, and I might bust these open to get to the aluminium, stainless steel, and maybe some magnets, and the rest is pretty junk. Okay, so that's level 1. Level 2 is hard drives again, but the boards are a little bit more involved. So they're slightly bigger boards in a lot of cases. You can see here. Okay, so the board sort of extends down a bit, and there's a little bit more components on the board. Okay, like here we've got a little yellow MLCC. Okay, we got some big black, yellow tantalum capacitor, some big black SMD tantalum capacitors, and there's another yellow, and just a few scattered MLCCs. On this one, there's really not much in the way of tantalum capacitors. It's mostly the IC chips. Other side, you can see they're MLCCs. So with these ones, they're kind of worth scrapping, but not much more. What I would do with these, if you're not processing everything yourself, you just want, but maybe you want a few good bits. Just come down a bit. Instead of processing, like instead of taking off this whole board, selling the board, and then breaking up all this to sell the metal, what you probably could get away with is just removing like these tantalum capacitors, right? No one's really going to notice. And so you take off the black ones, the yellow ones, and it's really not going to do much, you know, damage to the board, because a lot of hard drive boards don't actually have many tantalum capacitors. So the ones that do, you could probably just pick these off and get away with selling the hard drive complete still, and still getting your price, still getting your $1.20 a kilo. Okay. All right, so there we go. We've got, you know, it's not much, but if you're accumulating tantalum capacitors, then, you know, I've picked off a few tantalum capacitors here, a couple big ones, a couple yellow ones, and the board itself is still fine. You know, this will still go as a hard drive, right? And so still sell these at $1.20 a kilo. No one's going to know any difference, and at least you've gotten a few MLCCs, you know, which are, you know, around, you know, $40 a kilo. And so you've added a bit of value there without, you know, having to put much work into it. You know, if you went one step further and took off these flat packs, that would be a different story. They'd notice that, and your buyer would probably downgrade these hard drives. And then obviously you've got a few little MLCCs you can take off as well. Okay, so take off a couple of the nice MLCCs. And remember that the MLCCs on hard drives are usually a better grade of MLCC than, say, MLCCs off motherboards, because, you know, being a hard drive, it has to be, you know, all high tech, spot on. So they use a better quality of pretty much everything on them. Yeah, so another example. So yeah, again, we've got some nice black tantalum capacitors, and we've also got some really nice MLCCs here. So this board, you can see this chip here with the gold corner. You know, this is a really good, you know, logic, you know, flat pack chip, like a North or a South bridge. You know, a bit like a CPU. So, you know, this one, almost, because it's got that gold corner chip, I'm almost tempted to actually scrap this one out and keep this board, and, you know, and put the work in to get the aluminium and all that stuff out, because I'd probably like to get all of this stuff off myself and keep it for myself, rather than giving it away as $1.20 a kilo. But it just depends. If you're not into processing flat packs and stuff, and you might just want to be picking off MLCCs and tantalum capacitors, then just, yeah, with these mid-style, slightly, you know, these are older hard drives, and so these have bigger components and much more value. You know, when the board, you know, the buyers of hard drives buy these stuff, they're kind of relying a lot on, you know, a mixture of your hard drives to be, you know, slightly older, where they you know, make a little bit more on them, and it kind of balances it out for them, you know. Let me just get these here. Nice tantalum capacitor. All right, so these ones, these are really big. Don't know if you can see them, you know, how big they are, but you know, they're really nice and big, and they're going to, like I said, they're going to be about the best MLCCs you'll find on circuit boards, aside from server slot cards. They also have some good quality MLCCs. The tantalum capacitors, they don't really vary that much, but MLCCs definitely are a higher grade of MLCCs. Only, you know, I say that only because of the application that it's going on. It's going on a hard drive, and not just on a circuit board, not just one of 1,000 that are on a circuit board. So these are the mid-grade hard drives, a little bit older, and these can be worth, like I said, if you process yourself, these are almost worth pulling off, especially if they've got the gold corner. But if not, maybe just pick off a few of the choice items, a few of your tantalum capacitors, a few of the bigger MLCCs, you know, not the little stuff and all those little things, but you know, a few here and there, and no one's going to notice it, and you can still sell your hard drive, and you've gotten a little bit extra value. These little thick film resistors, right? They're also, being on a hard drive, they're also going to be a higher quality, you know, with your ruthenium. So if you see some really giant ones, you might pick them off too. Also, you might even, you know, get away with maybe taking off one of these flat packs for yourself. But yeah, and then and just to give you an example, these are basically what I call mid-grade hard drives, and or mid to high. And so here's one here. It's I don't know how big it is. I can't. Some of these hard drives are hard to work out. But anyway, yeah. So they're older, slightly older, and you can see the board. It's got, you know, a lot more to it, and it's a full-size board. So big difference from new style to old style, hey, you know. So these ones, the full ones, are probably worth scrapping out. Although they're bigger, they, you know, you get a lot more for them. It doesn't take as many to get a kilo, but there's just so many IC chips, flat packs, huge tantalum capacitors, big yellow ones here, the nice, really nice gold cornered CPU chip. So you can see that blue one here, that's a thick film resistor. It's a high grade. The blue resistors are a very high grade resistor, and they're going to have a lot more ruthenium in them. But yeah, just ginormous boards, or capacitors on them. You know, really big capacitors, and you know, as you probably know, they're, by weight, they have quite a lot of tantalum in them, because most of the weight is the actual tantalum. Yeah, but as I said, this blue thick film resistor, it's huge, and definitely one you'd want to pull off and keep. But in these cases, they're probably worth scrapping out and going to the trouble. You know, got a bit of rubbish there. You still got your gold plating in there, and so these ones, we'll just have a little look and see how many it takes to get a kilo of these mid-grade ones. And so the last one, it took 44 of these to make a kilo. And with these ones, let's have a little look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's also, you know, these are pretty much the same, but you can see the difference in the two. You know, this one's got, you know, tantalum capacitors, a lot more things on it. This one's almost bare, but it's got other things. It's still got huge, thick film resistors. 1, 2, 3 there, but not much in a way of tantalum capacitors. You got a really nice looking crystal oscillator here, one of the gold ones, really nice big one. But these ones here are very light, but I'll just mix them in. So I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, let me just straighten up there. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay, so it takes 22 of these boards to get 1 kilo, whereas it takes 44 of these boards to get 1 kilo. Okay, so double. Okay, so it only takes half as many of these. So you know, when you go to sell your hard drives, you're obviously losing when you're selling these, because the hard drive itself, it still weighs pretty much the same. So it takes 2 to a kilo. Each one's about a pound, less than a pound. So mid-grade, definitely worth picking off first, or at least pick off all the good bits. Some of the good bits, like the MLCCs, the tantalum capacitors, the resistors. Leave most of the flat packs and chips on there, and then still sell them as complete hard drives, just with your better bits off them. And then you got the old style, you know, which are, you know, definitely not worth selling. Well, this is probably the same kind of thing. You got the really old style here. These hard drives, it's all aluminium. These aren't worth selling in with your regular hard drives, you know, complete with boards. These you definitely want to scrap out, because they're certainly not double. They weigh probably 3 times or 4 times as much as these, but it's not just in the weight, it's in the quality of components. And these chips are, you know, a high-rise flat packs. You know, they're going to have a lot better quality stuff. There's there's all kinds of interesting things on these. There's I'd say that just overall there'd be a lot more gold in these than even the ones that I called mid kind of grade. These ones are the ants pants, and you know, if you go to sell your hard drives complete, these ones you don't sell. Like these ones here, they're full size board. They're pretty much blank on one side, although they do have MLCCs and resistors. And like I said, these blue thick film resistors are a very high grade resistor, and they're going to have a good portion of ruthenium inside them, and I reckon they're worth processing. Let me get this off. And the other side, so you can see there's a lot of chips. There's, you know, a lot of value here, and you know, it takes about about 22 of these to make a kilo. I'm not really sure it's worth even selling these as hard drive boards. I reckon, you know, if unless you don't process yourself, sell them. But if you do process stuff yourself, get someone to toll refine for you. These I wouldn't be selling these to guys. The only ones that I'd be selling complete will be these little ones, modern day hard drives. Okay, so whatever you get in Australia, you'll get $1.20 a kilo maybe. In America, you'll get about $60 a pound. These are worth selling because you're not going to get much more. As I said, you're going to get about, this is in per kilo, not per pound, but it probably works out the same for America. For every 44 hard drives, you'll get about $31 if you scrap them out yourself. If you don't, you'll still get $26. So you're only going to be $5 short, and without all the work of removing all the screws, finding the screw in here, having to pop this out, and just stuffing around. So the future of hard drives is these, and I don't recommend scrapping these out at all. Anything old, mid-grade, boards like that, mate, I wouldn't sell them. I'd strip them and I'd keep the boards, and I wouldn't even sell the boards. But if you did, at least it only takes 22 of these boards to make a kilo, so at least you're going to get some value per hard drive. These ones, per hard drive, you're not getting much value at all. As I said, it takes 44 hard drives to get 1 kilo of these boards. 22 hard drives to get 1 kilo of these boards. Okay, probably only takes a dozen hard drives to get a kilo of these boards. So you definitely you shouldn't be selling these complete as hard drives. So probably the best bet would be to separate your hard drives. They build up after a while, so separate them into 2 or 3 categories. Probably easiest, because you're not going to find these old ones much anymore. You might get one in a blue moon. So basically, split your hard drives into 2 sections. Okay, ones that aren't worth scrapping out, ones that you're going to sell as complete hard drives, and ones that you will strip out and either sell the boards or keep the boards and strip everything else and sell your aluminium and so on. Okay, so just that's what I'm doing. I'm just splitting them into 2 for now. These are definitely not going to be sold. If worse comes to worse, I don't have time to scrap these out, because as I said, once you remove the board, you're pretty much committed to scrapping the whole thing out, because you're not going to get much for this at all without the board. So so rather than me worrying about these ones too much, in the future these are going to become less and less. I'd say in another couple of years you won't be seeing many of these. They will be as rare as these ones, and then you're going to start to see pretty much all of these, and then whatever is going to come in the future, which could even be another smaller board again. Who knows what they're going to come up with in the future, because now we've already got who knows what they are there. 4 terabyte hard drives is nothing special these days, which 10 years ago 4 terabytes was unheard of, and you'd think the board would be this big, but no, it's only a little board like this, and they're getting a lot of stuff on them. So if you've got a whole heap of hard drives in your collection, and you're debating what to do, what I'd do is I'd split them in 2. And then if you do decide you want to sell, or you have to sell, you want to cash up a bit, sell these complete, and that'll give you your cash flow. Keep these for a rainy day, and because they're definitely worth it. And if not, just you're getting twice as much value out of one board like this than one board like this. So anyway, that's all I want to really talk about with hard drives. End of the day, it doesn't really matter. Just go out there and keep scrapping. How's that hard drive board? Look at all these tantalum capacitors, the yellow ones, unbelievable. You got other kind of resistors here. Don't really know what they are, but sometimes you know, they're pretty awesome. So yeah, the future doesn't, you know, it's not so good with hard drives. They're going to be eventually, when all we're seeing is these, you're just going to be putting them in a box and just selling them as is, because, you know, it's not going to be worth the time to scrap them out to try and make an extra $5 for every 45 hard drives you bust open. You know, it's just not going to be worth it. But you know, until all of these are like this, and we're still getting ones like these, you know, and even, you know, even like that, it doesn't have, you know, the tantalum capacitors like that one has, but they're still, you know, they're still going to have some good gold recovery items in here. And so still, you know, but even if you're not interested in gold recovery, you know, at least you're going to get twice as much value. It's only going to take 22 hard drives to get a kilo of these, rather than 44 hard drives to get a kilo of these. And so, yeah. So, yeah, as I was saying, if you've already got a bunch of hard drives and you're debating what to do with them, at least split them up into the two sections. Split them up with your good boards and your modern boards. And then at least you've got halfway there where you know, okay, well, you know, I'm not going to sell these at all unless I sell the boards alone. But these you can just get rid of, because this is what's coming. All right. Well, I think I've covered it. You know, main thing is just get out there and just keep scrapping, and you know, just rather than spending too much time on hard drives, spend the time going out and getting more stuff and bringing it in, because that's where, you know, you're going to make the money, is going out and finding stuff. And, you know, even if it's not always going to be computer stuff. You know, you'll be bringing in scrap steel and cutting cords and bringing in copper and aluminium and whatever. That's okay. But yeah, anyway, keep scrapping, guys, and I'll catch you on the scrap forum or on YouTube channel, and have fun, hey? Okay, bye bye.